Hello, my name is Dr. Yaya Sissoko. Today we're going to talk about Chapter 20, Inequality and Poverty, the measurement of inequality. There are several questions that we need to ask in order to measure inequality. The first question is, how much inequality is there in our society? The second question is, how many people live in poverty? The third question is, what problem will arise measuring the amount of inequality? The fourth question is, how often do people move among income classes? We are going to measure US income inequality by starting with the distribution of income. So to do so, we're going to align family by income. We're going to divide all families into 5 equal groups. So each group will have the same number of families and with different income. For instance, the bottom fifth, which is the poorest group, the poorest group will earn only 4% of all income. The top fifth, which is the richest group, earn about 47.8% of all income. In other words, the richest group, so make make it 12 about 12 times more income than the poor groups. So look at these photos here. These three gentlemen are talking to each other. So one of them says, so he doesn't care. I'm not concerned about what they do with the minimum wage. He doesn't care about the minimum wage. But the most important thing, as long as they keep the end of the maximum wage. This means that it doesn't care about the minimum wage so as long as they don't control, or put a cap on the maximum, wage or maximum salary. So table one summarizes the distribution of income in the United States in 2011. So we're going to divide the family in 5 equal groups. And then, we're going to see how much income is, earned by each group. For instance, the bottom 50 to poor groups earn under 27,000. So the top fifth group, which is the richest group, earn about 115,866 dollars and over. The top 5%, which is so earn over $205,200. So there are two trends in income distribution in the U.S. The 1935-70 period, income was distributed more equally in the U.S. However, for the 1970-2011 period, there were more unequal distribution of income. There were more inequality, in the income distribution in the areas. The reason there are two reasons for this, different trend in U.S. income distribution. The first one is an increase in international trade with low wage countries. So the U.S. The U.S. has been trading with a country with low income country like Mexico or India, for instance. Also, the other reason of this inequality of income distribution is the change in technology. We had the technological innovation in the 90s, which really, so increase, so the income of businesses, embracing technology and worker of, those sectors dealing with the technology. Table 2 summarize the income inequality in the U.S. United States from 1935 to 2001. For instance, in 1935, the the poor groups, which is the bottom fifth, earn 4.1% of the income, versus the top fifth group, which is the richest group, 51.7%, which is roughly speaking, we can say that the top group earned 12.66 times more than the poor group in 1935. In 1970, for instance, the poor group, which is the bottom fifth, earned about 5.5% of the total income, versus 40.9% for the top group. So, which is about roughly speaking 7 point, so 4 times more than the poor group in 1970. So another example in 2011, so the top group earned 48.9% of the total income, which is about 12.9 times more than the poor group, which earned only 3.8% of the total income in the US. Let's now focus on inequality around the world. So one measure of inequality around the world is the ratio of income received by the richest 10th group of the population to the income of the poor 10th group. We divide the world population into 10 groups, and then we take the ratio of the income earned by the 10th and the richest group, the richest 10th group, divided by the poor 10th group. So also another measure is the degree of inequality. The degree of inequality will vary substantially around the world. This will be different from country to country. So figure one, to display the inequality around the world. So we're going to measure, the inequality, income inequality on the y-axis or vertical axis, and the contour will be displayed on the horizontal axis. So this data came from the Human Development Report in 2011. So here we can see that in this figure that the income or expenditure of the richest 20% of the population divided by the income or expenditure of the poor 20%. So among these nations, Japan and Ethiopia have the most equal distribution of economic well-being, while South Africa and Brazil have the least equal. So we see that the lower the number, the more equality. So the higher the number, the less equal the distribution. So here, if you look at Japan, here is 3.4, Ethiopia 4.2. So those two countries have the best distribution of income. So Brazil here is 17.6. South Africa here is 20.2. Those two countries have the least equal distribution of income. So in the sample, if you look at here, the US is about 8.5. The US would be just in the middle right there. So what is the poverty rate? Poverty rate is defined as the percentage of the population which family income fall below an absolute level, which is called the poverty line. The poverty line is an absolute level of income set by the federal government for each family size, below which a family is deemed to be in poverty. Figure number 2 displays the poverty rate in the US from 1960s all the way up to 2010. For instance, in 1960, the poverty rate in the US was about 20, 2%. So and in 19 so 75, the poverty rate fall to about 14%, about 14% in 1975. In 1993, that poverty rate increased to about 15%. And right now, in 2010, that poverty rate is stabilized around 15%. From figure number two, we can measure the poverty rate. For instance, in the US in 2011, the median family was making, as income $60,974. The poverty line for a family of four was $23,021. If the family is making about $23,021, the family will be considered as a poor family in the US. And the poverty rate in 2011 was 15%, which was the highest. And the poverty rate, in 1979, in 1959, excuse me, was 22.4%, and then which was the highest. And in 1973, it was 11.1%, which was the lowest. So poverty is an economic malady which affects all groups within the population, and poverty is not does not have an equal frequency. So how about poverty in the race? Most of the time in the years, poverty affects Black and Hispanic group three times more likely to live in poverty than white people. Table 3 display who is poor in the US. So for all the person, the poverty rate in the US is 15%. So for white people, so it's about only 9.8%. Black, it's 27.6%. Spanish 25.3%. These two are the highest. Beside female household, no spouse present, single mom raising kid, it's 31.2%, which is the highest. Also, if you look at that, children under the age of 18, it's 21.9% poverty rate. Asian people is about 12.3% poverty rate in the US. The lowest is a married couple family, which the poverty rate is about 6.2%, where both husband and wife are working. Poverty with respect to the age, most of the time children are more likely to be member of poor family because children cannot work or they are young, so they depend on the adult, so they are most likely to experience poverty. So the elderly less likely to be poor because they retire. If they now they can earn retirement, so they'll be able to take care of themselves most of the time. So poverty and family composition. Most of the time, family headed by a female adult and without a spouse are five times likely to be living poverty as a family, so headed by a married couple.